Hey everyone! Today we are jumping right into the world of Python, and I'm going to make you a promise. By the end of this short explainer, you will have written your very first program. So, let's get started. You hear about it everywhere, right? AI, machine learning, data science. It can feel like this massive, super complicated world that's just impossible to get into. But what if I told you the door is actually wide open? And that door, well, it's Python. It was literally designed to be easy to read, almost like plain English. This isn't about memorizing a bunch of weird symbols. It's about writing clear, logical instructions. It is the absolute perfect place for your journey to start. So let's talk about the Python power-up. We'll explore exactly why this language has become the go-to for everyone, from total beginners to the top engineers at places like Google. So what's the secret sauce here? What makes Python so incredibly popular? Well, it's a few things working together. First, it's just simple and clean. Second, it has this enormous collection of pre-written code, we call them libraries, that let you do really complicated stuff without having to build it all from scratch. And finally, it's been around since 1990, so the community is just huge and super helpful. Put it all together, and you can see why it's the undisputed champ for data science and machine learning. Now, to actually write Python, we need a place to work. And forget about boring old text editors. We're going to use something way more creative and interactive. Your very own digital notebook. This right here is a Jupyter Notebook, and you should think of it less like a coding program and more like an interactive scrapbook. You can write some code, run it, see what happens, and then write notes to yourself all in the same place. It is fantastic for just playing around and learning. And this is what makes it so amazing. You can have a block of live code, and when you run it, boom, the result appears right below it. But then, in the very next block, you can have nicely formatted text, or headlines, or even pictures. You're literally telling a story with your data, which is a total game changer for learning. Now, I know the phrase installing software can sound a little intimidating, but you gotta trust me on this one. It could not be easier. Let's do a super fast walkthrough. It is literally 4 steps. You visit the Anaconda website, you download the installer for your computer, whether it's a Mac or PC, you run it, and then you launch Jupyter Notebook. That's the whole thing. We are talking minutes from start to finish. The secret weapon here is a free package called Anaconda. What it does is it bundles Python, Jupyter, and a whole bunch of other essential tools all together. So one download and one installation gets you everything you need. No messing around with complicated setups. After you launch it, this is what you're going to see. It's the Jupyter dashboard, and it actually runs right inside your web browser. Think of this as a file manager for all your projects. This is your new home base. Ready to actually make something? It is this simple. Just go to the New button up in the top right corner, give it a click, and from that drop-down menu, just select Python 3. And just like that, you're in. You are looking at your very first blank notebook. This is your canvas, your digital lab, your playground. You are all set up and totally ready to write some real code. All right, this is the moment of truth. Let's actually write some code and make the computer do something for us. Okay, so it's a tradition that goes back decades. In that first little box or cell, I want you to type print, followed by an open parentheses, then a single quote, then the words hello world, another single quote, and finally a closing parentheses. Now here's the magic part. Hold down the Shift key and press Enter. And look at that. The text Hello World popped up right below the cell. I know it seems simple, but this is a huge moment. You just gave your computer a direct command and it listened. That's it. You are officially programming. So what else can it do? Well, it's basically the most powerful calculator you've ever had. In the next cell, just try typing 1 + 1 and hit Shift and Enter again. Instantly, you get the answer. 2. It's that interactive and that fast. Okay, so we've made it talk and we've made it do math. Now, let's build on that. Let's learn how to store and organize information. These are the fundamental Lego bricks of any program. First up, we have the variable. And honestly, the best way to think of a variable is just as a labeled box. You can put a piece of information inside the box, and then you give it a name so you can find it easily later on. For example, if we type a = 40, all we're saying to Python is, hey, take the number 40 and store it in a box with the label A on it. From now on, anytime we use the letter A, Python's going to know that we really mean the number 40. But what if you want to store a bunch of things all together? Well, for that, we use something called a list. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an ordered list of items, just like a grocery list. You can put numbers, text, pretty much whatever you want in there. To make one, we can just define a variable. Let's call it my list. We use these square brackets, and inside we just put our items. In this case, the numbers 1, 2, and 3, separated by commas. And just like that, we've stored a whole bunch of items in a single variable. Okay, let's just take a step back for a second and look at how far you've come in just a few minutes. It's actually way more than you might think. No, seriously, think about it. You've set up a complete professional coding environment. You have written and successfully run your very first program. You learned the fundamental idea of storing data in variables, and you even learned how to group that data together in lists. That is a massive first step on this whole journey. This means you are no longer just watching from the sidelines. You are now a participant. You've taken the very first step to speaking the language that powers so much of our modern world. So the only real question left is, now that you can speak the language of data, what questions are you going to ask?